Welcome back to Budget Modern. Today we'll be covering a deck I like to call Allies of Life, a very straightforward mono-white ally deck that is running 22 planes and 38 creatures. First off, we obviously have 22 planes. Then we move on to Cliffside Lookout, single white casting cost, core scout ally creature that is a 1/1 with pay 4 generic mana and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Following, we have Expedition Envoy, another single white casting cost that is a human scout ally that's a 2/1 with no ability. After that, we hit a very important one casting cost ally, Hada Freeblade. It is a human soldier ally with, whenever Hada Freeblade or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Hada Freeblade. It is a 0/1 to start out with, but this creature here becomes quite a bit bigger in a hurry. It is a wonderful first turn drop. After that, we have Kazandu Blademaster for double white casting cost for a human soldier ally that's a 1/1 that has first strike, vigilance, and whenever Kazandu Blademaster or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a 1/1 counter on Kazandu Blademaster. This is actually another pretty good ally, like our previously mentioned Hada Freeblade. It works well in this deck due to the fact that this is a mono-white deck, so the double white casting cost will not become a problem. And with the added benefit of first strike and vigilance, that adds some very nice effects to it, especially with it being able to grow rather quickly in this deck. Next up, we have our first of the life gain allies, Ondu Cleric, for 1 generic and 1 white mana cost. It's a core cleric ally that is a 1/1 with, whenever Ondu Cleric or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain life equal to the number of allies you control. This card here will gain you a ton of life, but do remember it is a may effect, so you do have to remember the trigger. Following that, we have Serene Steward, 1 generic and 1 white for a human cleric ally that is a 2/2. Whenever you gain life, you may pay a white. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. You will have several opportunities to gain life in this deck, so remember that trigger that allows you to pay single white mana to be able to place a 1/1 counter on one of your creatures. Helps buff them up so they can survive removal spells or beat down your opponent even quicker. Next up, we have 2 copies of Stonework Puma for 3 generic mana. It is a cat ally that's a 2/2 that's an artifact creature with no ability. This one honestly is just kind of filler in the deck, but it is handy to have an extra 2/2 available. After that, we have Landern Scout for 2 generic and 1 white for a 3/2 human scout ally with Rally. Whenever Landern Scout or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. This one here is another important piece of your life gain pieces in the deck, seeing as how you can, every time you play an ally, make sure that all of your creatures in the deck gain lifelink. It'll help you gain a ton of life. Following that, we have Talus Paladin for 3 generic and 1 white for a 2/3 human knight ally. Whenever Talus Paladin or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, you may have allies you control gain lifelink until end of turn, and you may put a 1/1 counter on Talus Paladin. This here, yet again, is another great piece of your combo for gaining life in the deck, and on top of that, he gets even bigger every time you play an ally. Following that, we have another useful piece, Hero of Goma Fada, 4 generic 1 white casting cost for a 4/3 human knight ally with Rally. Whenever Hero of Goma Fada or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. This card here is a very valuable piece, allowing you to freely attack your opponent without having to worry about them being destroyed by your opponent's blockers. And it's also a great way to be able to gain life by either hitting your opponent directly, or if your opponent blocks, gaining life from the damage your creatures will deal to your opponent's creatures. So that actually concludes the list for this deck. Every creature except for the Stonework Puma, we're currently running a full playset of 4 of each in there, but it should run very consistently, be a massive life gain deck that I have no doubts that you will enjoy playing. If you liked this video, have any questions, comments, or any suggestions on how we can improve the channel, or anything similar, or even have any ideas for decks that you'd like us to cover in the future, please leave a comment in the comment section below, give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel. That way you can stay up to date with the most current content that we have available. And we also have our Facebook page at facebook.com/budgetmodern. Another great way to be able to keep in contact with us and stay up to date. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.